Good afternoon. Lord, help me make this video because I am traumatized. Okay, so I was not planning to make a video today at all. And I don't know, it's just meandering online, and I came across this hell testimony that had been posted like a month ago. And I couldn't tell right away, but it looked like it was from someone who like wasn't a Christian or had any affiliation, which are kind of my favorite because I love hearing testimonies from people who don't have any dog in the fight, who don't, you know, people tend to think that Christians package things together and it's sort of like an infomercial for your belief system when we talk about supernatural things. And, they're not wrong to do that because we do put a lot of emphasis on the presentation being proper and good and wanting to get people to listen to it. And because, subconsciously you're human. You think that is what's going to help, help in any way create a Christian. So you want things to be succinct and you want things to be slick and appealing to the eye and all this stuff. And does it work? A little bit, I guess. I don't know. But I think primarily it's just the Spirit of God that you rely on. And there's things that give us confidence and things that inadvertently work and, all the stuff behind the scenes that God doesn't really tell us about. But I have a sneaking suspicion that it's literally just the Spirit of God. And that's why I don't really spend a lot of time spiffing up my stuff, because not only because I'm lazy and I just have no interest in doing that, but also just knowing and having full confidence that it's not my super eloquent hour-long whatever's, it's the Spirit of God. And so if anybody's listening at all, it's because it's the Spirit of God. So it's a miracle. It's a miracle if you're listening to any one of my 45-minute to an hour and a half long videos, because it's literally just me rambling like a person who doesn't have any public speaking training and doesn't have any interest in learning the Christianese and whatnot. But anyways, so yeah, we end up sort of, to one group we might be appealing, but then to everyone else it just kind of looks like we put together our super brainwash bulletin package and is handing it out to people. So it's really great when you have a compelling testimony of someone who clearly does not know the scripture, does not have a revelation of scripture, has not been anywhere near scripture, and hearing them say the things that are in there. It's really, really fascinating, cool. And it kind of helps me get my mind sort of cleansed of any like biases, just to see like where people are and what they don't understand, and like where you're like, oh, you don't even know that that's what this is. Like all of your assumptions and stuff as a Christian, where you're talking and you assume that people know what this is and that is, and hearing somebody talk about it and see like what they do not have a grasp on is really interesting. So definitely got a lot of that while I was listening, but at the same time, I was blown away at the level of insight that this person had. And I don't know, should I link it? Should I not? I don't know. I'm really just ranting about it, because let me just open with, not bury the lead here. This guy went to whole hell, right? Came out, and I don't know, to me, it sounded very New Age. I watched a lot of like New Age testimonies at this point, and it was checking all the boxes. Now, as far as like who considers themselves New Age, it seems to be a very broad spectrum, and they like to distinguish from themselves from, the white witch and the dark witch, and they don't call themselves the dark witch, but oh, well, I do this. Well, I don't work with crystals. Well, I don't do this. Well, I'm more of an astrology person, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know that person would consider themselves that, but all of the things were there, all the things that he was saying. And there's a specific hallmark to New Age people because they don't have, somebody like Jesus. They don't have a sort of guideline about like what the proper behavior is or what the looked upon, um, the things that are sort of praised and things that are sort of frowned upon. I mean, they do, but it's just not the same. So, but a lot of New Age lends itself to like braggadocio and like just having pride in your own ability to like have these like super sensory whatevers. Like, so they're constantly, and it's just like, but then like on top of it, there's like a New Age ease, like they have their own language too. So it's very, they just like pour it on because there's nothing about like not having pride. There's no, they don't have anything about that. They probably don't, they don't have a concept of what sin is and all this stuff, right? So they're not like checking themselves for this stuff. So he had this very like, I'm a person who, I connect, I've always been very, what I don't know, I'm just trying to mimic it, but it's just like I'm connected to the light, and it's just something that I've always been able to do, and like literally just like on and on and on about it, and I get it. I sort of sympathize because it's like, how do you like give a context for stuff, and without telling people like what you think your strengths are or whatever, but they all tend to like rattle that off and just because everything is like, oh, you have a gift, like it's a very much like, what do you call it, not gaslighting, but it's like when it's not love bombing either, but it's just like everything is just like flattery and like, I can tell when I saw your aura that you were just the whatever. So they all kind of do that, and so they're all like, my name is Leandra and I work in the whatever. Everybody has their like specialty, but anyway. So he was doing that, but listen, let me tell you, the guy wasn't totally lying, because the way that he like read hell like a book without knowing with also having like a clear not understanding of what he was looking at, was like, wow, dude, okay. And the stuff that he saw, and here's another thing about like non-Christians, because a Christian, or even if you like the person wasn't a Christian when it happened, but now they are, and it happened 10 years ago, and now they've been in the church, they know how to put the language with it so that, everything that they say to you is familiar. And to hear a non-Christian talk about it in non-Christian terms is so, I don't know, it's really kind of like chilling too, because there's quite a bit of overlap as far as like understanding and like what you're looking at, and the shared understanding, which you think is like hard to misinterpret hell. But I've heard a lot of hell testimonies where the people just really, a lot of people were just in denial while they were talking about it, about like what had happened to them, and what it all meant and all that stuff. And it really just made me reflect. This was probably the closest one that I've ever seen where he was just like so close to it. Not only was he close, and it wasn't like he couldn't, it was like he was grasping and couldn't get it. He was checking it off the list. Like, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's not the Bible. It's not God. It's not Jesus. Like, he didn't say that. It wasn't, the only thing that he said that about was about Bible and Christians, because of course, the Bible is, the Bible and organized religion is just controlling people because he's in New Age and he's enlightened, and there's more to it than that, blah, blah, blah. So he was fighting. There was part of it where he could see he was fighting the information to not fit into anything any Christian boss. Because, and that is a human. So that is why when I watched it, I've seen a lot of people do that. You know, you have to like reason it out, but then you've already crossed this off the list. So that you got to make sure that nothing shares the same space as that, because, you know, you've already been like, ew, no, it's not that. So you're kind of self-deceiving, and then it becomes this confirmation bias, which is a term that people who have it most love to use it on other people. But yeah, his was the most frustrating. Like I literally have like heart palpitations, and like there's like pain in here because uh he just I could hear and see him not taking the Jesus bait. But like what I don't understand is like, how do people not understand, like literally everyone is doing that? Like everyone starts out going, if they're on a quest to find what really is, they never start with Christianity. In fact, it's never like part of the thing. It's always the last on the list. Every person that you listen to who is now a Christian, who went on one of these walkabouts, you get to the part in their testimony where they finally decide to go back and go, you know what, maybe let's look at this Bible. I mean, what the heck? I've already looked at everything else, and I clearly, like, after they've been completely wrung out of resistance to it. And, you know, the devil helps a lot with that, obviously. He's going to make sure that you think that it is the most ridiculous, goose egg, nothing burger thing. And that's fine. But there's also something within us that does it. We all feel it. Even if you're a Christian, you know that side. Like, you know that carnal mind is the enemy of God side that says, well, that's not it. Well, that's clearly not it. Well, that's not it. I don't even know. I don't even have to look at it. I don't even need to open it up. I already know. And does that. So, but to go to hell though, bro, like we don't all do that. We don't all go to hell. So he went to hell. Somehow was able to dodge any sort of like full on conversations about God or Jesus, which does tend to happen, I will say. But like he picked up the way he picked up on the context clues was wild. But the only thing that he had a grid for was angels, which, surprise, big surprise there. So he was talking about angels and demons. And he said that he felt an angel fill him with this like love and warmth, which if any of you have heard any testimonies, it's pretty standard at a certain point. Like usually when you're on your way out, that's how you get out. If you're telling the story at all and you're here at all because that happened to you, it's because you saw a light, you saw warmth, you felt warmth, you felt this unbelievable sense of love. And like it got to the point, like I was already like, it's very, very long. It's very long, but incredibly detailed. I had it on like 1.5 because I was just like breezing through it. But he was like, yeah, I felt this love and this light. He was like, I felt this love and this light. And, you know, I knew that it was ... an angel. Like, I just, oh my gosh. Cause especially since he just spent like the first part going like, yeah, angels can't get down there. Angels cannot get down there. They can't be down there, which, you know, I just, you know, let it slide. The man just went to hell. Like, he's trying to figure it out. So he's like, He's like, yeah, angels can't be down there. They can't cross in that place. And you do. It's like everyone talks about the instant revelation that you get when you're there, but you still have to. It's funny because you still have to piece together the revelation as far as like, especially when you're still alive and you're just like having a vision or whatever. You still have to put that information somewhere in a place that makes sense. So he was able to see things and understand things or know things, but not fully understand things. So he's like, this was posted like 4 weeks ago. So he's still like on this journey, I guess. I don't know. He hasn't posted since he posted his testimony. He just knew that he had to get it out and just, whatever, which is also pretty standard. But so he just got finished saying that no angels can come down there. But then he goes into uh, this description, and I was so prepared to like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is where the testimony is going to take a turn. It's about there, because it was like the last third of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's about to bust out the Jesus, the God, the whatever. And he literally gave all of that to an angel that supposedly can't even go down there. And I was just like, but you could tell the way that he hesitated. Why is there hesitation? He wanted to say God. He wanted to say God. He slipped it to an angel, which is wild, because unless he's like, I haven't seen the previous videos on his channel, so he might just have a New Age channel. But I didn't know that New Age, I mean, I'm pretty sure New Age people are open to God. Like just saying God, not even Jesus, but just saying God. They're open to Jesus too sometimes. It just depends. So it's a lot stranger for it to just be angels, like doing that type of work when you're like in hell, like an angel getting you out. Like his boss didn't tell, like he just on his own. You just said that they couldn't. So it was like, why wouldn't you give that to God? Why couldn't you give that to God? Like, how hard is it to attribute love and light to God? So he wasn't really, as far as hell being a place, like the way he was explaining it, he actually said something that really gave me a revelation about it, because he said that, yeah, hell, if you're in hell, also, I love non-Christians, like, describing, like, spiritual things and just saying it, like, they get to, like, curse and all that stuff because they don't know any better, and it's hilarious and really, really appropriate. Like, you want to be like, couldn't have said it better than you just said it. But, like, he was like, yeah, hell is, like, it doesn't matter what your class is. It doesn't matter what you did on this, like, as far as like your status or anything like that. If you did bad stuff, then you're going to be in hell. And he was sort of like making a list of what he perceived as being the things that could get a person into hell. And it was like, because he it was all based on who he saw down there, but it was like he was filtering what he saw through what his information already of right and wrong, good and evil. And if he's in the New Age, the likelihood that he believes that sin is a thing, it is nil. So, and he definitely didn't bring that up, but he was talking about, he's like, there's politicians down there. He was like, so he was seeing that and he was going, okay, so the people that are down here are people who brought a lot of suffering to other people. It's about people who just did a lot of dark things, dark energy, and just whatever. So it was general, but in particular, when the way he was talking about it, I was like, oh, this is why people think you have to do good works on earth. And they literally can't get out of this loop. It's because if you deep down, you kind of stuffed the idea of hell down, but it exists, right? You know that there's a need for it, because not everybody is good. Not everybody wants to be good. So there needs to be a place to go. But also, hell is like you don't really want anybody to go there. The only thing that alleviates your distress about it existing, about people going there, is that if everybody down there has done something bad enough that you can feel good about them being there. And so, because hell, in your mind, the justice of hell is, oh, well, you did something really bad. You killed people, you know, SA'd people, you did stuff that is bad enough. It's like jail, like prison here. It's like what keeps people from losing sleep over people in prison is that they did something to deserve to be there. So, if that's going to be what hell is, then heaven has to be where you do something to deserve to be there. So, as long as you have that belief in your head, and I don't even know that people, like, I just realized that belief was there for people, and it makes sense. I'm not knocking it, but it is incorrect because, and this is what Christianity, just the distinction that Christianity is making, that not even Christians really understand always, which is really funny because the way he was talking about like uh, Christians, and then just seeing like Christians in the comments just being like, bro, you need to just go to Jesus, like case closed, like open and shut. And like, but then also other Christians that were just like, I don't know, a lot of a lot of times I see things online and I'm like, just like if you put like on a non-Christian post and those people are bots, I'm like, these people could totally be bots, just like raising everybody's blood pressure, dude. Because there's just people on there like, why are you cursing? Like, you need to. I'm like, bro, he's just a guy putting a video up. Like, I don't know. I also don't put it past people to be just that like obtuse. So, anyways, so I was like bummed about that because I'm like, oh, gosh, that's like, not that I usually care about like whether people are turned off by Christians or not, but honestly, like, it's just like, oh, okay. But I also don't think that is exclusive to Christianity. I think like every institution, you've got these people like this who just seem to sort of, they like to point out, that they know the rules and that they know how to enforce them. Like, it's not anything that's like, it's not the smartest, but it's not whatever. You just kind of have to go on and be like, okay. I don't know. There's something about Christians. They like to point out, they're like, haha, I pointed out something that you did that wasn't correct. Like, let me show you the right way to do it. Like, I don't know. But that's just I don't know. It's not an ego thing, but I don't know. Maybe it is. But it's really like misplaced and it's just not something we need. Like, go do that in one of your other groups. Like, but I mean, again, yeah, like people if you're in, the elite in, Beverly Hills or whatever, I'm sure like if you're not following the fashion rules or whatever, I'm sure people love to be able to point out like, oh, she's wearing last year's whatever. Like, it's the same thing. And they can be like, let me recommend a store to you. Like, it's kind of like that, but it's annoying. I can't lie. But anyways, so yeah, as I was also reading all of the comments, I was like, yeah, that should be a testament right there that Christianity is real, because we're clearly not the masterminds. Like, we're not the masterminds. And that's probably part of the reason why people believe that it is sort of created by somebody, because it's like, we're clearly not running it. We have no idea. It's like, oh, I went to hell last night. It's like, what? That's not a thing. It's like, don't you believe in, it's like, yeah, but I don't know what you're talking about. Like, none of us, we all got our direct like revelation and orders from God, and then we joined the thing. Like the idea that we would all be experts on what the Bible is or what Christianity, like what it all means. like people assume on the outside, assume that like that's what we would be, and we're like, oh, no, we don't know anything. Actually, we just joined because of our own individual, like you might have something like relevant that God can use, like somebody like in a similar situation, but that's literally the only way. As far as like individuals, we are not like knowledgeable at all. So that's why you can go to church and just get like no help at all on something, because and just yeah, it's like I was talking about the blind, the magician's assistants, the blind assistants, like that's what we are. We're the blind assistants, like because God is showing his he's got a way of showing up. He's not going to do it overtly, but if you're paying attention, you can see, the fingerprints. And it's just like, yeah, any place where there's no way that we can keep this propped up for millennia by ourselves. Like we are complete and total morons. But so anyway, so I forgot what I was going to say before that, but yeah, when he said about the why the people are in hell, and I was like, yeah, that's the misconception. Like it's so razor thin, but it's like because we are made in the image of God and we want to see justice. Let's just like we have a sense of right and wrong and justice and all these things, and yet God still has to correct us on this issue because like we're almost on the same page except for this, which is true of a lot of things, which shows that God is different from us. He's a different, he does things that are strange. Like one of the things that he said is that he did see children there, and he didn't like go into like the age groups, but he was pretty surprised. And he said that his best guess was that those were children that had been sacrificed, like the parents had sacrificed them, and then apparently it's like they died without uh, having the hedge of salvation. And you might see that and go, how could God let innocent kids? Because it's about innocent kids and innocent people, because all the people that go to hell are guilty people, and the people that go to heaven are innocent people. And the thing is, because the thing that makes it not right is that um, Adam and Eve were guilty of disobedience. It was at the time in a perfect world where it's a perfect state and you're living forever. Disobeying God was the most egregious thing that could be done there. It was the thing that got the angels that rocked the angels' world, and now there's such a thing as hell and demons. So, so Adam and Eve technically were evil, or not evil, but they had transgressed and needed punishment. But God chose to keep them alive and keep going with this. So if he were to punish everybody who deserves hell, he would have to punish every person. Why didn't he just punish Adam and Eve and now there's only two people in hell and then start over? Because the same thing would have happened. There'd be two more people in there, and then he would start over, and the same thing would happen. There'd be two more people in there, and so on and so on and so on. It's best, in my estimation, I see the wisdom of just letting the thing play out, getting the souls who want to go with him, and then leaving the rest, because the whole line is corrupted. So the whole line is corrupted. No one does good. No one loves God. No one, right? But in the meantime, that also it also inadvertently creates a scenario where he can now have people who make a choice. So it went from having created beings who were created in the image of God. That's good. Do you know what's even better? beings made in the image of God who chose God. That is, whoa, that's super unique. That's something that he sort of can't get without sin entering into the world. So he's using, because he's like genius, he's a genius. So he's using darkness, evil, light, everything to get something even better than what he started out with. That was kind of like that was just kind of like my whatever. But the point is that he can't do it on the basis of how much bad you've done and how much good that you've done. Because any infraction against a holy, perfect God is bad. Which sounds tyrannical and crazy but we haven't seen the majesty, the true majesty of God hasn't been revealed. The glory of God hasn't been revealed. We see it a little bit through this world, and we see how superior it is in its creation. And this is in its like blah state. Like this is just like, it's like on its way out. It's like, ugh, he's got to remake this thing. And it's still like amazing. Your human body, like he's responsible for all this, right? Responsible for everything that is anything, right? So, once we get in front of him, we're going to realize but it's veiled for now again, because we're still in a choosing place and we're choosing him or not him. Those are the only choices. It's not him and a million other things. It's him and not him. The million other things is the not him. How do I know? Because Jesus said it. That's, I'm going to do a parables video soon, but that's broad is the road that leads to destruction. Narrow is the way that leads to life, and few find it. That's choosing him, right? So he switched the criteria from whoever does good gets to go and whoever does evil has to go to the bad place. He switched the criteria, said, okay, you guys aren't capable of that. That much is clear. So here's what I'm going to allow you to do. You get to anybody who chooses me based on my attributes. I'm going to give you a spiel. I'm going to give you my pitch. And anybody who still wants to go with me can come with me. And then the devil is going to give his pitch. And anybody who wants to go to him can go with him. And he lets you choose. Anybody who chooses him gets to go. Anybody who doesn't choose him does not get to go. Now, you might say that that's not fair. But I think by and large, though, like that sounds reasonable to most people. But I also don't think that I think people underestimate it's just a harsh reality, because the harsh reality is that there's some people that are going to look God dead in his face and not choose him. And we can't conceive that. We all think like, oh, people are basically good and we just want the best things, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, and that's why God does his spiel in a specific way. The devil does his spiel in a specific way. His spiel is to not really tell you that hell is hot and terrible and smells disgusting and it's awful and terrible. In fact, he's not really going to bring up hell at all. He's just going to talk about, like, isn't it great to be your own person and to be able to decide? He's just going to bring up, it's really funny, but not. Like, it's just the way that he's just like, it would be like, I don't know, think of just the worst nightmare scenario. It's like talking about like a burning building and you're just burning alive in a building. And he's like, well, it's humid, but it's not, you won't freeze to death. Like that's his pitch, right? But he's a liar. So what are you going to do? And then, he's just going to be like, millions of dollars. Anybody that comes with me is going to get $1 billion a year. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a burning building. Like, anyway, so that's his pitch, right? And then God's pitch is also very specific in his way, which is he's not going to tell you his net worth. He's not going to tell you what kind of cars he drives. He's not going to tell you that you're going to be queen over half of the whatever. He's going to say, listen, I have a way of running things. You can't be like this. You got to be humble. You can't have this or that. You got to accept my son, like all of these things, right? And people go, well, that sounds dumb. Like, or that sounds lame. Like, I want to get $1 billion a year. So that is light and dark doing its spiel for you. And, but honestly though, listening to this testimony made me understand even more why people end up in hell, because I hate to say it, but if that guy does not choose God after that, if he doesn't choose Jesus Christ after that experience, he got his home tour is what he got. And it's sad, but also like, in a way, it's like, if you don't choose God, like, you kind of deserve to go because you didn't have to do anything to go. We kind of prefer that, but that's a dumb preference because we have absolutely no chance of making it to heaven. God has made it so now that we have a chance. It's because Jesus died that this now can become a game show of choose. If Jesus hadn't come and died, which he was slain before the foundation of the world, so God had already planned to do this for us. But if he hadn't come and died, everybody would just be condemned, and that'd be the end of the story. Jesus literally died to get some, because some people who choose him is an incredibly valuable thing to a God who literally just makes everything, and it's just magnificent, and everybody who he makes is just like, oh, this is great, we love you, Jesus. We're like, yay, we love it, everything's great. So to be able to get some people who are made in his image, not just angels, because angels are a creation of his, but they're not made like we are, and to have them have chosen him without seeing all of his glory and majesty, but just based on literally his attributes, because they loved goodness and they hated wickedness, and they loved justice, and they hate what is evil and wicked, and they're drawn to the things of the light. And yeah, we have a part of us that is partly sin nature. We're familiar. We have the knowledge of good and evil now, and we still choose the good. Those people get to be his. That's why the reward is so intense, because we get to be kings and priests and all of these things. It's not just a tactic to control people, to keep them in line. So it's like, if you do right down here, you get to go to heaven. And he said it himself. He said when he went to hell, he was like, yeah, all I saw down there was like wealthy people, elite people. I did not see poor people down there. I did not see so the thing that the world will tell you, where everything is sunny and fine and not torture, that the idea of heaven is a flim flam, and all that crap that they fed the slaves about the sweet by and by was a flim flam. No, it wasn't. So heaven, like the idea of the Bible and God, can't be the thing that controls people. It clearly isn't working, first of all. Secondly, it sounds to me like what he witnessed down there was the truth, but he was still, I could tell, and you could tell if you're listening to it, he's conflicting, because he doesn't want to let go of, well, there is no such thing as sin, and I decide my this and my that. And, I have these things, these gifts of, I'm clairvoyant and this and that, which, spoiler alert, clairvoyant just means a person, once you die and go to heaven or hell, everybody clairvoyant. It's not really that big of a deal, but you don't know that. And if you're just like listening to spirits and just picking up their clairvoyant whatever, and you think that that's some special thing because everything here is veiled, But anyway, part of me listening to it though, part of me is confident that he's going to get it. He's going to get it because he was talking early on about how he's counting the cost of fighting the evil and fighting the darkness. It's like there's certain things that he was saying, it was like revealing his heart. So this is somebody who ultimately, and the test, time will tell. Time will tell, because the test is accepting Christ, who is the truth. So, yeah, we can all be sort of fooled by, or you could fool yourself in the whole talk of like, yeah, I'm for the good. I want to fight the evil and vanquish the evil. But it's like, if you're not willing to take the humility yoke of God, accept Christ and his sacrifice, and become his and become a servant of him, you want to be like big, powerful warlock, Gandalf, the warlock guy who does everything in his own power, which is pride. And pride is scary because it is kind of a silent but deadly situation. It is it's carbon monoxide gas in the garage. Go fall asleep and die. Pride will kill you and take you to the bad place. It is heinously bad. So I guess I'm going to pray. I guess I'll just do that now. But Lord, you know what I'm talking about. So I just pray for him and, send him some angels. Send him some angels. You know what? We love angels. I can't wait to see all the angels, and I'm going to be like obsessed. I'm going to be doing interviews. They're going to be sick of me. I'll be like, so how old are you? Like, I know you don't like age like that. Dude, I saw a thing on TikTok, and first of all, the demons are out here. I don't know if you've seen that or whatever. A lot of people in the news doing a lot of weird stuff, and then showing up demon possessed at the courtroom or whatever, which I don't know. Can it get any more like apocalyptic than that? It's like the the days of Noah are just like coming, crouching in on the earth, and just watching people who are clearly demonically possessed, like, have to go in front of a courtroom and ask questions. Like, the person who's probably in there and just like, I really don't even want to deal with this. Like, I already didn't want to deal with life when I had demons. I don't want to deal with life like now that I'm in jail because I did something. So they're just like way deep down, and the demons just like, like they can't even keep still. Dude, I don't even remember what it was now, but it was like either they were talking to the cops or somebody who was questioning them, and it was clearly a demon talking. And it was comical because he was like, they were asking him like, who are you? And or state your name. It was real like whatever. It was official, and it was like, state your name and whatever. And they were like, and it was almost like the demon was like, are you talking to me or are you talking to the guy that I'm living in? Like, he was just confused. He was like, and then he goes, they said, what's your date of birth? It's not funny, but it is though. It's not funny, but it is though. They were like, what's your date of birth? He was like, I don't have a birthday. He was like, I don't have a birthday. Bro, how do you not, like, I guess y'all don't watch enough stuff. Y'all don't watch enough of these crazy videos to know that is so what a demon would say. Like, just watching demons talk to regular people, it's like a movie. It's like a movie. Like, the disconnect of like they don't have to be normal. They're just trying to like what's going on? They don't care about what y'all are doing. They don't care. Like, they have had to pretend to care for like hundreds of years. They're like, when are we gonna like just be out in the open? Like, I'm so tired of like pretending to be these people's like spirit guides. I don't want to guide these people anywhere anymore. Can I just like take over their body and do weird stuff? Like, I'm so tired of pretending to be their grandma. Like, so I don't know. Anyway, the point, let me just get back to my original point, which is just like, I'm going to be praying for that dude. And, uh, I think hopefully, I don't know. You can't even say for sure. That's this whole thing. That's the whole point of this like journey is like the way that people were telling him exactly what he should do, like precisely, like, which is just the whole thing of being a Christian. Like people told him precisely to his face what it was, what he should do. And not everybody was like super gracious with it. And some people were a little off with it. There was a lot of like Jesus consciousness and the collective and this and that. But you had Jesus being said in multiple in multiple terms, in layman's terms, in New Age terms, and all the terms. He did not mention Jesus one single time, and it was like all he could do to say God. Like even when he was talking about how the demons, he was like, "Yeah, they do not like you for you to talk about God down there," and then he changed it again to angels, like as if they really freaking care about angels. They ain't scared of no angels. I mean, they are a little bit probably. Let me just back that up. But what I'm saying is like, uh, I'm pretty sure if you tried to like call down an angel, they would just kind of laugh at you. Like, why would they be threatened by? They don't want to hear about angels. Probably because I used to be their friends or whatever. It's probably personal, but I guarantee you, all of hell, like to not bring up the person who clearly was in charge of the whole operation is so like, oh Lord, this doesn't seem like it's going well. Like this isn't going good. But it was fresh. It was 4 weeks ago. He could probably be a Christian by now. Who knows? But I kept thinking of like, what would I say? Like, what would I write to him if I left a comment? Like, which changed as I like was listening to it. About like what I would say. But overall, it was traumatizing, honestly, to listen to somebody get that close to the truth. And then it didn't matter how close they were. It was like you're just as far as the farthest person is, because that's how it is. You either have it or you don't. And so I'm just like, dude, I think I'm traumatized. I think I have trauma from being on this planet and watching people do this. Like watching people, it's one thing to sort of like dismiss God or, lead people astray. Like all that stuff is really like, it's debilitating and it's sad. But to see somebody get that close to it and it didn't, and it wasn't even like it seemed like, oh, he's so close, he just needs a nudge. It's like you got a feeling that he was shutting it down. He was shutting down what was true about it. And like some people have these hell testimonies, and you can tell they can't make heads or tails of it. They can't make heads or tails. They're like, I don't really know why I was there, what caused that. They're chalking it up to like some traumatic, stressful time in their life. And here's this guy who's like, listen, I know what I saw. I know where I was. There's like no one to talk to about this. Everybody's going to think I'm crazy and this and that. Like he is ready to like proclaim something. He's ready to like sound the alarm. People need to know that this place is real, but he doesn't have the part. And unfortunately, when he gets the part, if he ever gets the part, he's just going to join our ranks of wackadoo crazies that nobody listens to. It's going to be really frustrating for him. Even just seeing the comments and just seeing everybody sort of grasping at straws, trying to give a context for hell outside of the gospel, and then you got a couple of like slummy shlomo Christians in there, just like, not even really saying it right, but like just, and then be obnoxious on top of it. It's like, if you're going to be obnoxious, for goodness sake, give them the right information. Um, so I don't know. I just want to like lay in bed. I'm going to go eat cookies, dude, because I am depressed. I'm depressed and I still feel like the heart trauma. I'm like, dude, God does this every day, all day, but at least he has a reason. Like, he's like, he knows why he's not going to just like jump and give it to them. He wants them to come to the knowledge because they want to, so that he can reward them with eternal life. Like, and that's all you have to do. So I don't know if I really reiterated that in my, like, what I was talking about, but it's just like, when it's all you have to do is just believe and accept the truth. That's all you have to do. It's not based on your, I think it's so profound when people, I think Jeffrey Dahmer was like purported to be a Christian, like accepted Christ in jail. Like, I think it's so profound when the blood of Christ, because he can change anybody and make them brand new. And it's like, you see it, it's like, that is what he died for, to get just the most like extreme example. It's like the prostitutes and these people that the world is thrown away and judged to be like, not, whatever, they're not ever going to be on the good graces of the world again. And so then they come crawling to the church and we go, come on, crawl on in here. I love it. I love it. That's, I love to see the sacrifice that Jesus made being put to use. Um, but I hate to see when people just fumble the bag. But, it's not forever, but we don't have that much time. You got to like get this right now, because it's like stuff is happening. There's prophecy being fulfilled and signs in the sky and all type of stuff. Like, you need to hurry up and get this. Like, we don't really have that much time for you to like meander around for 20 years and go through like 18 different other religions before you finally land on Jesus. Like, but yeah, so like, that's why the criterion is changed, but it is still jarring for people. Like, that's why the church by and large like don't like to focus on hell, because they like, hey, Jesus, good news, it's free, salvation's free, because that's like the nice part is like, hey, it costs you literally nothing, you just got to believe and whatever. But a lot of times though, and that's why you have a lot of problems in the churches, because they don't understand what that buys them if they don't know the other part of it, which is hell. But it's hard to tell them about hell when they can't get their minds around the fact that literally just not believing in God will send them there. But it's just like, that's the best way. It's the best way. If you tried to get in on your merits, you wouldn't be able to get there on your merits. It's not like this TV thing that we have where we can only kill off characters that aren't that interesting. And if we kill off a character and everyone hates it, we bring them right back and everybody's happy again. That's not real life. That's not real life. Everybody is responsible. Like, if your grandma didn't love God and she didn't love the things of God, you're not going to see your grandma again. I'm sorry. I'm sure she was sweet and lovely and whatever. But she thought she could get to heaven on her own, and that was a mistake. You have to understand and realize, like, God made it so that he made it easier. It's easier to just get in by saying, yes, I want to go and I believe you. But the downside is it sucks to not get to go, because you literally had one job. So, and that's why we have to go out and be obnoxious to everybody and tell them about salvation in the middle of whatever they're doing. But you got to admit, it's a little bit weird that you don't want to hear about it. So it all it all sort of judges itself, and it's I remember reading in Jubilees about the chief angel, the chief that was I guess Lucifer, whatever his name was in that, sort of being like, leave me a tenth so that I can, telling God, like, so for those reserved for judgment, like, leave me a tenth of the angels so that we can sift these people for you, basically. Um, you know, it's all doing the job. So God is in charge of it. Ultimately, He's responsible for it ultimately, but uh, because He's responsible for it all, and He's already counted the cost of doing this whole thing. We just have to catch up and understand, like, uh, you know, I don't know. I feel like now I'm just sort of being rambly. Okay, well, I just want to get that off of my chest. And yeah, I will talk to y'all later.